Good is get you. It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be doing a tier list of some of the best free cards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, most of the cards on here are going to be from Season 3 of MyTEAM, with a couple from Season 2 and obviously a few from Season 1. Now, I didn't include all of them from Season 1 and Season 2 because a lot of those cards that were free are no longer free, and so if you didn't get them, they're going to have, it's going to do you no use if you just started playing the game this season, but did want to include a few of them. Now, we're going to start out at the top, work our way down, and as we dive into it, guys, if you are new to the channel and have not yet, smash that subscribe button. We're on the road towards 130,000 subscribers. Aaron Brooks. When I think of Aaron Brooks, does it get much worse than him? I'm just asking, does it? He's 6 feet tall. I guess he has a decent enough release and shoots the ball decently well. I just don't see it with Aaron Brooks. Like, what is he really giving us on the courts? I just don't think it's a ton. I'm going F tier with Mr. Aaron Brooks. Anthony Davis up next. AD is one of the best free cards that we have gotten all year long. Now, how did you get AD? Well, he was available through the agendas, and he's actually available at the time I'm recording this for 16 more hours. So, if you do want to go grind out Anthony Davis, go do what you got to do. I can't sit here and tell you not to. Do I think he's worth the grind? Look, he's S tier on my free card tier list, so do what you got to do. I think the card is incredible. Baron Davis, he's in our free card agenda. I do believe he was yesterday at the time you guys are seeing this. He's fine. Baron Davis isn't horrible. If you want to run Baron Davis, you can. Decent point guard. I just never really loved Baron Davis's release. I think he's just an average free card when it comes down to it. Biyombo, look, is he totally useless? I guess maybe not, because he can rebound the ball. I guess I'll go D tier with Biyombo. I think he's better than a guy like Aaron Brooks, but I do not think he's great in general, if that helps you guys out. I don't love the card, but compared to Biyombo, I don't think I can, or compared to Aaron Brooks, I don't think I can put the card in F tier. Bob Love, I actually really like him for free card tiers. I'm going to put him in A tier. The problem with the rewards is they're just not great. Like, Bob Love is fine. You can play him, use him. He's never going to be that next level good at the small forward position. And I think that's the problem with most of the rewards I'll talk about. Though probably most of them will be in A tier or B tier, but none of them are going to be in S tier. And I think that's the problem when people talk about rewards is, first of all, they're not great. And second of all, there's just no real reason to grind them. I might have to move AD down because Brandon Roy is easy addition into S tier. Still one of the best overall shooting guards in the entire game. I gotta say, I'll give 2K credit for making Brandon Roy as good and as longevity-wise possible as they could. Like, they don't make a lot of the game rewards good, but as far as the ultimate rewards, Brandon Roy and SJ, who we'll get to later in this video, have been really good. Chris Morris, I'm gonna go A tier. If you watch Chris Morris gameplay, obviously it was bad. I played horrible with the card, but I don't think Chris Morris is that bad. Am I saying Chris Morris is good? No, but I don't think he's like, borderline useless. Like, you can use Chris Morris, has good size, good versatility, and he's gonna play decent defense. Is the card perfect by any means? No, but he's not a total garbage man. Christian Laettner up next. I don't have a problem with Christian Laettner. I just don't think the card's great. I'm gonna go C tier. Look, when you talk about free cards, some of these cards in this tier list are pretty bad, and so that's why Christian Laettner is at C tier, but I really do not love the card in general. Christian Wood, I'm gonna go C tier as well. I think he's better than Biyombo, but the Christian Wood base is something 2K really ruined. Like, in years past, it was the best release in the game, so everybody was always excited about Christian Wood. This year, it's no longer that good, and so, it's fine. He's at C tier. Chuck Hayes, I honestly think Chuck Hayes is worse than Biyombo. I'm putting Chuck Hayes in F tier. I see no benefits to ever running Chuck Hayes. Now, maybe you guys will for whatever your specific purpose is. For me, he's F tier. Cliff Robinson, A tier. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'd even say Cliff Robinson might be S tier. He is that good. Now, the problem is, again, when you talk about these season rewards, they just get kind of a negative rap behind them because none of them are the best the best guys in the game. And I think that's what really hurts. I think for now, I gotta be like this. B-Roy S tier, Cliff Robinson, AD A tier, and Chris Morris and Bob Love in B tier. Dan Marley, I'm going to throw him in B tier as well. I do think he's usable. I just don't, again, think he's one of those top tier cards in the game. I don't think Dan Marley's a card like, oh yeah, let's go get him. You know, he's fine, he's usable, but he's not great. Dave DeBuscher can't shoot. I mean, if you can't shoot in my team and are a small forward, I can't hype you up. I'm going to go F tier. I just don't really see it with Dave. If he had a 3-ball, he'd be fine. Problem is he doesn't. Deadlift without the duo, C tier. With the duo, probably D tier. But, I mean, I'm not just going to talk about him with the duo. We got to talk about him without the duo. Again, when we talk about his release is no longer what it was in the past. In the past, I feel like Deadlift had one of the best releases in the entire game. This year, not quite that. I do think C tier is where he belongs. Not horrible. Earl Boykins, obviously F tier, just super, super small in game. Eddie Johnson. I'm going to go B tier. I really like Eddie Johnson, though, in the game. I have no issues if you guys really want to hype up Eddie Johnson. I really do rate the card highly. I'm going to throw Chris Bosh in S tier. Yes, I think Chris Bosh is better than Anthony Davis. I know a lot of people might not like that. Yes, I think he is better than a guy like Cliff Robinson. Slightly, though. I don't think, you know, the difference between him and these two guys is that big, is that large. But I do think there definitely is a difference there. And I think it's enough to be talked about as far as a difference between S tier and A tier. Next up, guys, Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver is a tough one for me. I'm going to throw him at B tier. Look, he can shoot the ball well. Outside of shooting the ball well, what does he really provide for us on the court? Not a whole lot, and so that's the tough part I have. I'll throw him at B tier because he is the best sharpshooter in the game. Mitch Richmond, also B tier. I do think he's better than Kyle Korver side by side. Are these cards free anymore? No, they were last season. So if you didn't get them for free, sorry, you no longer can. Clyde also was free last season. I don't think he's quite as good as Mitch or Kyle Korver, but I don't think he's bad. I think he definitely is usable. And if you did get him in season 2 and haven't played the game since, you can put Clyde in your lineup and he will be just fine. Draymond Green up next. I don't have a problem with Dre. I think he's better than Christian Wood. I'm going to throw him at B tier. Not quite AD Cliff Robinson level, but fine. I'll put him at B tier because you can use him and have some success. Gary Payton, you guys might not like this. I'm going to throw him at A tier. Yes, I like Gary Payton that much. Is he my favorite budget point guard or free point guard in the entire game? No, but he is solid for what he is. I'm going to throw him at A tier. Emmanuel Quickly, I do not rate you highly. I'm going to throw you at D tier. Definitely better than Earl Boykins. Definitely better than Aaron Brooks, but you're just not great in my opinion. A lot of people might like him. I'm not going to sit here and hype up a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, who I have, but will absolutely never use. Jeff Hornacek up next. I mean, what are we talking about? He's D tier 2. This card is not good. I know he's got a high 3-ball, but there are more important things on the court than just the high 3-ball. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to play good defense. And for Jeff Hornacek, I just don't know how much else he really is going to give us on the court. Jerome Kersey, I'm not a big fan. I guess I'll throw you in C tier because I don't love the card at all. Think he's actually a bona fide scrub. But I guess I'll throw him at C tier because the power forward, small forward position at C tier just is not great, not ideal at all. Next up, guys, John Havlicek. I know his release is fine, but he doesn't give you anything else on the court. Like even Kyle Korver, I think, might be better than Hondo because he's going to shoot the ball better and at least move better. Hondo can't move at all. I wish his movement was at least decent so I could somewhat hype the card up, but his movement is absolutely horrible in game, which basically makes it nearly impossible for me to hype up a guy like John Havlicek. I just don't think I personally can do it. Jose Calderon up next. I think C tier is the right spot for him. I gotta be honest with you guys. I've never really used Jose Calderon, never really played against the card. So I think for me, the hard part is, how am I supposed to really talk about this card? I mean, defensively, not obviously great, has decent height, has a decent release. But I mean, is he better than C tier, better than Baron Davis? I don't know. I'm gonna put him right there at C tier. Juan Toscano up next. I don't think this card is horrible. I think he gets a bad rep for what he provides for us on the court, but I really don't hate this card at all, and I think you guys can use Juan and have success with him. I honestly think he's underrated, and I don't say that about many cards on this tier, but I feel like when the card came out, everybody was kind of annoyed. He's a 3-minute grind, and he is more than usable at the small forward position. Is he the best card on this tier? No, but he is more than usable, especially for the grind he is. Kevin McHale, you guys can say I'm crazy. I'm putting him in D tier. I do not like the card at all. Kyrie Irving, I'm going to throw him at A tier. Don't think he's he's quite S tier at this stage of the game, but I don't have a problem if you guys want to put him at S tier. If Kyrie's still your favorite point guard in the game, I have no issues with that because I've said it before and I'll say it again. The point guard position is so preference based, and so even for Kyrie, I have no issues if you guys want to put him at that S tier. Minnesota Mike up next. I mean, I'm throwing him a D tier. Not quite Earl Boykins level. He can move a little bit. The big problem is his release. Just has a pretty horrible release in my team. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat things. Wish Minnesota Mike was a little bit better. The problem is he's just not very good. Next up, guys, Pau Gasol. I mean, I don't know. Where am I supposed to put him? B tier, I guess. He's fine. The problem with Pau Gasol is he's way too long of a grind for what the card provides. I think B tier is as high as anybody can go with Mr. Pau Gasol. Phil Jackson, he's not bad. I thought the card would be better than he was, though. I'm going to go C tier. Look, the card isn't horrible. He can shoot the ball decent, play decent defense. He's just a little undersized. Raymond Felton, D tier. He's Raymond Felton. What do you want me to sit here and say? I mean, that should be enough. SGA, S tier. There's not going to be that many cards that do go to S tier, but SGA definitely is deserving of it. If you don't think SGA is deserving of S tier, I want to know why, because I think he's still to this day is probably the best point guard in the entire game. Sean Livingston up next. I think I gotta go A tier with Sean Livingston. The problem is I feel like Sean Livingston and Gary Payton aren't on the level of Kyrie Irving, and so that makes things difficult for me as well. I'm gonna move him down just for the sole fact that I think it's disrespectful for Kyrie Irving to be on the same tier with Gary Payton and Sean Livingston. Sean Bradley up next. I don't have a problem with him. He's just not great. I mean, he's tall, so I guess I'll throw him at C tier. He's 7'5", but he just doesn't really do anything for me on the court, and height doesn't run the game as much as it has in the past. Spud Webb of F tier. I mean, he can dunk the ball, but he's F tier. Steve Smith up next. I think Steve Smith is a perfect B tier player. You can plug him in your lineup. He's gonna hold it down for you, but he is not next level good. TJ Warren, I'm not a big fan of. C tier, not great in my team. Not horrible, but again, he's TJ Warren. He's just gonna be an average small forward in the game. Terry up next. Terry, I'll put a B tier. I mean, look, Terry at least gives you a little bit more movement, a little bit more on the court. Terry can't play shooting guard. So how am I supposed to hype him up to the moon if he can't even play that shooting guard position? I just can't put him any higher than a B tier. Mr. Trae Young is actually fun to use. I throw Trae in B tier. You guys might call me crazy. He's got the Trae leaner. His movement's pretty good. He's not horrible in my team. Tyrese Maxey, he's D tier. He's not very good. I mean, if the Diamond Tyrese Maxey can hardly play, he can't play. The Ruby Tyrese Maxey definitely cannot play. Victor Oladipo up next. B tier, I think, is where he belongs. Again, not quite that Kyrie level, but solid enough to throw into B tier. Vin Baker, not great. Gonna throw you a D tier. Wes Unseld is solid. I'm gonna throw Wes Unseld at B tier, right there with Draymond Green. At that power forward position, I personally think it's preference, whether you like Dray more, whether you like Wes Unseld more. I don't have a problem with either. I think they are both B tier players. Wilt the Stilt up next. S tier is where he belongs, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I like Wilt. And look, do I still use Wilt? I do. Am I, eventually gonna go away from him? Probably, but for now, he is still S tier. E. Jillian in salary cap was absolutely elite. B tier is where he belongs. For budget ballers, was a really solid big. And last but certainly not least, Yuta to boost. The card stinks. F tier. If you have Yuta any higher than F tier, you just do not know what you guys are talking about. That's gonna wrap it up for our free card tier, guys. If I left anybody off the list, I do want to apologize. A lot of these cards, again, were free in the past, might not be free for you guys now. And even when I'm looking at my S tier cards, the only guys that were this season were the level 40 in SGA, level 40 in Wilt, and the ultimate reward in SGA. Only one mode reward made A tier. Really is kind of sad in my opinion. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.